Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all to our second workshop for the Saudi Student Association here at Carleton University. Today we're having a special guest from the International Graduate Requirement Office, Mr. Craig. He's the primary Carleton University contact person to the Saudi Arabian Cultural Bureau in Canada. We had a meeting with him last week regarding applying Saudi students to Carleton University, and now he's giving a general speech about the requirements to Carleton University, and after that we're going to have time for you guys to ask questions regarding applying to Carleton. So, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much for having me today. It's great to be here, and congratulations on launching the Saudi Students Association at Carleton. I think it's a fantastic association. I think there's lots of good things that are going to come of it. So just to further introduce myself, my name is Greg, and I am the International Recruitment Officer in the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs at Carleton. So my responsibility is in terms of international graduate level recruitment. I know information in regards to the admission process, which I'm going to go over with you today, and I know general information about the programs that you're interested in. In terms of specifics, in terms of qualifications for admission, I know the general baseline that the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs requires, but ultimately for individual programs, it's really going to be up to the individual departments to assess your documents, your transcripts, your reference letters, that sort of thing. And they're the ones that are going to make a recommendation of admission to the faculty, and then we'll send out the offer of admission. So that's kind of what I'm here today to talk about, is more general how to apply to Carleton, kind of how I can help you through that process and answer any questions you have about the application process. And then if you have specific questions about particular programs, I can try to help answer those as well. So in terms of applying to Carleton, how do you apply to a graduate program at Carleton? The first thing you have to do is select a program. And the way you select a program is by visiting our website, carleton.ca/graduate. All of the programs are listed on there. In the books that I handed out, on one of the first pages, or the first page, you'll see a list of all the graduate level programs that we offer. This list is slightly out of date. We've launched about 5 new programs in the last year or so, and there's some new ones coming online this fall as well. So the most up-to-date list is on our website. So that's the list of programs that we have to offer. The other way you want to go about selecting a program is to select a program that you are interested in. So you're not selecting a program because it might be easy to get into. It's really going to be based on what your research interests are at the graduate level. With undergraduate studies, with bachelor level studies, it's pretty much the same education you get no matter which university in Canada you go to, and generally around the world. A bachelor education is pretty much the same. There are some differences, and you're selecting a bachelor program more so based on the university itself. At the graduate level, you're really selecting a program based on the research, based on what research is being done, what the faculty member is doing in terms of their research, and how it relates to your own research interests. So it is quite different. Before submitting an application, you do want to review the admission requirements, which I'm going to go over the base requirements. The specific admission requirements for each program is available on the departmental website. So for example, computer science, on their website, the School of Computer Science website, all of their specific requirements are laid out, and they can be higher than what I'm going to go over with you today. Then you have a 2-step application process at Carleton. The first step is that you have to request an application account. So you go to gsapplications.carleton.ca and you request an application account for the program you want to apply to. We then send you, when you submit that request for an application account, we send you a username and a password through email. Some programs might require what's called a pre-screen, which means you'll fill in some information about what courses you've taken, what your GPA is, and then the department will either accept or decline your application. But not every program offers that up front. So when you submit the application account request, you then get sent the login information. Then you have to log in and submit your actual application. That's when you're filling out all your information about what your background is, what your interests are, referee information for where you're getting your reference letters from, that sort of thing. And then when you are finished with that, then you actually submit your application and you have to pay a fee of $100. Okay? And for Carleton, each graduate program you apply to is going to be another $100. So it's $100 application fee per program you apply to. So you really want to narrow down your program choice before you actually apply. You don't want to be applying to 5 different graduate programs. It's going to cost you $500 in application fees. Once you submit once you submit your application and pay your $100 application fee, then you have to go about collecting all your supplementary documents. The graduate level, we're not just interested in your grades, although that is important from your bachelor level. We're also going to need transcripts, reference letters, test scores. So if you're applying to the MBA, we'll need a GMAT score. If you're applying to any program, you need to meet our English language requirements, which I will go over. Writing samples, some programs require you to submit writing samples, statement of purpose, statement of interest, that sort of thing. And all of the documents are sent to the department, okay, directly, not to the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs. Now in the case of the Saudi Cultural Bureau here in Ottawa, if you are applying to Carleton through the Bureau will actually send your documents on your behalf to me, and then I will forward them to the department on your behalf. So that's if you go through the Saudi Cultural Bureau up front, and then I can kind of keep track of your application through the process. So the advisors at the Cultural Bureau are always in contact with me. The other thing you should know about how Carleton works with the Saudi Cultural Bureau, we cannot release any information about your application to Carleton to the Bureau without your express consent to do so. So if you want the Bureau to be asking questions about your application on your behalf, you have to submit what's called a third-party authorization form with your application. Okay, and that should be sent to me as part of your application package, and it basically names the Bureau as someone or an organization that it can inquire about your application. If we don't have that, we cannot confirm or deny that you've submitted an application, and that's because of Canadian privacy laws. So just keep that in mind. So what happens after you submit your application? You submit your application documents. The department then reviews all the applications they receive. Generally, they won't start reviewing applications until they have all the applications in by the first deadline. And the deadlines will vary depending on the program. They'll be anywhere from January 31st to May 31st. Most deadlines are around the beginning of March for most programs. When they review all the applications, if students are eligible, then offers of admission and funding are sent via email, and we'll send them out by regular post as well. So you will get an email as soon as a decision has been made, an admission decision, you'll get sent an email, and then you can log on to Carleton Central and accept that offer right away. Carleton Central is our online student portal, and so you can log on there as soon as you submit an application and get your Carleton student ID, which begins with 100, and you can log on to Carleton Central and you can track your application that way. You have 21 days to accept your offer from the date that the offer is made. If you need more time, just contact your department that you've applied to, and generally they can give you more time to make that decision. In terms of costs, now is everyone here funded by the Saudi government for the King Abdullah Scholarship? Perfect. So you don't really have to worry so much about the fees and costs, because that's all covered for you and more. And we do have an agreement, a letter of intent worked out with the Saudi Cultural Bureau in Ottawa as well. But generally you're looking at anywhere from about 34,000 to 37,000 Canadian dollars per year for study. And that includes tuition, housing, books and supplies, miscellaneous expenses, groceries, everything like that. So that's an approximate fee that you're looking at. The tuition fees, these are for 2010, 2011. They will increase slightly next year, but again, the scholarship kind of covers that. Now at Carleton, we do care about wanting you to succeed at Carleton. It's not like we admit you and then we forget about you and you do your own thing. We have lots of services in place to help you in terms of cultural adjustment to Carleton, in terms of getting used to the academics. If you're having trouble with anything, there's services and support systems in place to help you. Of course, there's my office, the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs. The Associate Dean of Student and Postdoctoral Affairs is there to be a resource for you. They deal mostly with issues that you're having with your supervisor. If you do have any issues, they can help address that. With myself, I do work with the International Student Services Office, which is on the bottom of this building, in the main floor, to help with programming. So there's an international orientation that's held in fall of every year, and it's about a 3-hour session that we do. It goes over all the general information about all the services that the ISSO has to offer you. And the ISSO is a great place to go if you do have any questions about work permits, study permits, UHIP, which is the University Health Insurance Plan, all the rest of it. That's all through the ISSO, and we work quite closely together. The Graduate Students Association, or GSA, is on the top floor of this building, and they're basically your student government. So as a graduate student, you belong to that association, so they act on your behalf when you're members of that very important association. There is specific graduate student study space available in the library, and I've been informed that graduate student space at Carleton specific for graduate students is increasing quite substantially with the opening of the 2 new buildings that are being constructed right now. So you're going to have even more place to go for just graduate students. If you're having trouble with writing, writing a thesis, writing a report, we have the writing tutorial service that's available to help you with develop those skills. They're not a proofreading service. You can't take your final thesis or your final paper to them and have them proofread it. But throughout the process, they can help you develop those writing skills if needed. And then we have health and counseling services at Carleton that you can access, and there's an international counselor as well, international student counselor that you can go talk to. So that's kind of the basic overview of Carleton in terms of how to apply, that sort of thing. Contact information, my contact information is here. You can get a hold of me through international_grad_studies@carleton.ca or at the phone number there. This website, all of the information that I've gone over here is on this website, carleton.ca/graduate. This is this is for general information, which I answer, but you can also reach me at the contact information below as well at my extension. And like I said, we do work very closely with the Bureau in Ottawa. So that's basically overall how we do admissions at the graduate level at Carleton. In terms of English language requirements, in this book, it does have the minimum English language scores required for admission. Just on the right page. So on the 4th page in, under admission requirements, you'll actually see the requirements for English language, for meeting our English language. They have increased slightly with the new graduate calendar for fall 2011. More so just the CALE has increased to a minimum of 70, and the paper-based TOEFL, which isn't listed there, is a minimum 580. But the IELTS and the internet-based TOEFL is the same. So you have to meet those minimum requirements.